and you're watching This Week in Backpacking. Ooh!
Welcome back to This Week in Backpacking. We're your hosts, Miyagi and Trips, bringing you some of the highlights this week in the world of backpacking. Trips, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, doing good. Coming off the heels of our Pictured Rocks trip. As you guys saw last week, we had some fantastic times. It was
so much fun.
Fantastic weather, and hopefully we'll have a trip video coming out for you pretty soon. Trips, what's going on in our national park news?
America has a new national park. In January of this year, a new national park was designated. America's newest national park, the New River Gorge National Park and Reserve, encompasses 70,000 acres of land along the New River, one of America's oldest and wildest rivers. The area is rich in cultural and natural history and offers an abundance of scenic and recreational opportunities. This new park has joined the elite list of the other 62 official United States national parks. The park is located in the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia. The New River was first designated as a national river in 1978 by President Jimmy Carter. In January 2021, Congress created the New River Gorge National Park and Preserve Designation Act, which was incorporated into the Consolidated Appropriations Act 2021, changing the designation to a national park. Less than 10% of the original national river was redesignated as a national park, where hunting is no longer permitted, while the remainder is a national preserve with little change. New River Gorge has many recreational activities for guests to enjoy. For adventurous travelers, you could spend a day whitewater rafting on the powerful currents of the rapids. Excursions for rafting are offered April through October by professional guides. The numerous other recreational activities available in the park include fishing, biking, hunting, canoeing, and birding. New River Gorge National Park is a rock climber's paradise. The park is one of the best areas to climb in the eastern half of the United States, with over 1,400 areas to climb. New River Gorge has over 50 miles of hiking trails inside the park. Guests can choose to hike to Diamond Point, Long Point, and Turkey Spur, or tackle the 2.4-mile Endless Wall Trail. Guests can also visit Canyon Rim Visitor Center and walk on the boardwalk to see the New River Gorge Bridge and see the views at Main Overlook at Grandview. New River Gorge National Park and Reserve also has a few spectacular scenic drives. The 83-mile route of the New River Gorge Scenic Drive is the perfect place to view the gorge and river. The African American Heritage Auto Tour will take you to 17 different historical sites of where African American coal miners and railroad workers worked and lived. The tour is presented on a smartphone app and tells the stories of the African American experience in this region.
Speaking of apps, the National Park Service has a free new app for your smartphones. This is the new official app for the National Park Service, with tools to explore more than 400 nationally designated places throughout the United States. Within the app, you can find interactive maps, tours of park places, on-the-ground accessibility information, and much more to plan your national park adventures before and during your trip. The free app is currently available for both Apple and Android devices. The NPS app takes authoritative information from park rangers and combines it with a great suite that includes the following features. Interactive maps. Each park has a detailed map that includes points of interest, along with roads, trails, and other information to plan your trip. Park tours. Self-guided tours take you to interesting places in the park, discover popular destinations, as well as places off the beaten track. It's like having a ranger by your side to guide your trip, giving you suggestions for places to go, directions to get there, and things to do once you arrive. Amenities. It's the little, and sometimes not so little, things that can make or break a park visit. Learn where you can find and access transportation, food, restrooms, shopping, and more. Accessibility. The app offers a fully accessible experience with tools to benefit visitors with accessibility needs, such as audio descriptions of exhibits along trails and roads and in visitor centers. Offline use. No internet access? No problem. You can download content from the entire park for offline use. It's especially handy if you're exploring a remote area in the parks or concerned about data limits. Share your visit. Tell your friends and family about the fun things you did by creating and sharing virtual postcards with scenes from the park. Things to do. What do you want to do in the park? Hike? Take a bus tour or scenic drive? Maybe visit a museum? Join a ranger program? Become a junior ranger? Discover all the fun, entertaining, and educational activities that the park has to offer. News, alerts, and events. What's happening? Get news and events for all the parks, or select a park of your choosing.
So I just downloaded that app, and it's really cool.
So are we going to start planning some of our trips?
Yes.
All right, Trips, what's going on in the world of backpacking?
A hiker who went missing for several days after getting lost in the Angeles National Forest has been found safe. According to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, the hiker spent about 5 days lost in the remote area of the forest. Thankfully, on Wednesday, the hiker was found and airlifted by Los Angeles Sheriff's Department to safety. The search by authorities and volunteers began Saturday when the man did not return from a day hike in the Mount Waterman area of the San Gabriel Mountains, about 25 miles northeast of downtown Los Angeles. The helicopter crew spotted him waving next to a creek in a deep canyon. Sheriff Sergeant John Gilbert stated that the area that he was located in was at about 2,500 feet, while the mountaintop that he came off of in order to get there is at approximately 8,000 feet. So over several days, he's made a lot of progress downstream. Family members stated that the lost hiker is experienced, but that he became disoriented in an area burned last year by the Bobcat fire, which blackened more than 180 square miles of the forest. Since this fire, the Forestry Service has closed these areas and recommended hikers don't go in them. The Angeles National Forest spans more than 1,000 square miles between metropolitan Los Angeles and the Mojave Desert.
Money for a 500-mile Alaskan long trail will likely be included in the Alaska legislature budget for this year. The nonprofit Alaska Trails came up with the idea for a multi-use trail between Seward and Fairbanks last year and has been trying to find money for it since. On Wednesday, Sitka Republican Senator Bert Stedman and Anchorage Democrat Senator Bill Wielechowski sponsored an amendment to the Senate's version of the budget to set aside $13 million for the project. Boosters say destinations like the Appalachian Trail bring in tourists and revenue for the communities they pass through. They hope that this could be true for Alaska, where hiking already brings in many visitors. Plus, Wielechowski said, much of the path already exists. Wielechowski stated that the plan would be to connect areas that aren't connected, make improvements along the way, and adding bridges where needed. Sections not yet built include a stretch between the interior towns of Healy and Nanana, as well as sections of the Iditarod National Historic Trail on the Kenai Peninsula. The amendment, which would pay for the project with federal COVID-19 relief money, passed the Senate unanimously. Because the money was not in the version of the budget passed by the House, it now has to be approved by a conference committee.
How awesome would it be to hike Alaska?
Alaska would truly be amazing. That is definitely a bucket list location, especially if they have a long trail.
For sure. We'll have to keep an eye on that one.
Oh my gosh. So it looks like Gregory has a new line of packs out. Let's check that out.
Gregory Packs introduced its first plus-sized pack line with a variety of sizes and pack styles that will come online over the course of 2021, designed for literally everyone. The new line of products is part of Gregory's push to grow its Gateways program, which promotes inclusivity in the outdoors. Gregory's new line launched this spring with two flagship packs, the men's Katmai 65 and the women's Kalmia 60, each available in 2 torso lengths with hip belt sizing up to 53 inches. The new plus-size collection addresses sizing gaps and provides more pack options, according to Gregory. These plus-size packs feature lots of design updates compared to standard fit packs, including a larger hip belt and length, redesigned pocket placement, extended shoulder harness length and a new shape, a wider shoulder strap angle, and a longer sternum strap. This summer, the company plans to include over 14 products across the day hiking, hydration, multi-day backpacking, and lifestyle categories. John Sears, vice president of Gregory, stated that this new line has been years in the making and we couldn't be more excited to launch this new collection, not just with 2 or 3 products, but with a line that represents the breadth of our entire backpack collection. The packs will be available at REI and select specialty retailers as well as online. Later this summer, the line's 19 remaining products will be available online and in certain retailers, though Gregory has not yet confirmed which stores will carry the entire line.
Man, what a fantastic way to make everybody feel inclusive outdoors. That
Absolutely.
line of packs by Gregory that's fantastic, a long time coming.
Yep.
Cool. Well, let's move on to our through hiking news. We're going to head out to the Appalachian Trail and catch up with Kelly Hayes. If you've been following the Appalachian Trail through hiking vloggers on YouTube this year, there's a solid chance that you've come across hiker Kelly Hayes. Kelly is a van lifer and traveling nurse by day and has had an active YouTube channel since January of 2020. After spending some time on her first traveling contract in California and visiting friends, Kelly headed back on the road to Georgia on her way to Springer Mountain for a northbound through hike of the Appalachian Trail, a dream that she's had for a very long time.
All right, guys, good morning. This is the day I have been waiting for the past 2.5 years. I'm so excited, I can't contain myself.
Kelly summited a very wet Springer Mountain at the very beginning of April and started dropping videos and photos on Instagram just over a week later. Kelly quickly developed a group of close friends through hikers call a tramily and began settling into her new life on trail. On day 5, waking up from Bull Gap, very much like day number 1, it was filled with periods of rain as she settled into her tent outside of Low Gap Shelter, just shy of 43 miles into her journey. The beginning of day 6, things started taking a very serious turn for the worse for Kelly.
Went back to my tent and I started getting this really intense pain in my left lower abdomen. Then I started throwing up. And that's when I was like, okay, something isn't right. I couldn't keep any electrolytes down and my pain was just worse and worse. And I was just laying on the ground in the floor of my tent in the fetal position. I couldn't move or do anything because it would just hurt. I couldn't stop shivering. Wasn't cold, it was so much in so much pain. Finally I made it out and Miss Bonnie picked me up. Miss Bonnie runs the Your Home in the Woods bed and breakfast. Took me into Blairsville, dropped me off at urgent care. We got to urgent care and quickly realized they weren't going to be able to do anything. So the lovely, nice nurse there drove me to the ER. And the ER was full when I got there. So I was actually laying on the floor in the ER for about half an hour. And at this time, I'm kind of almost going in and out of consciousness because I'm in so much pain. And I got an ultrasound, and that's when they found that I had a ginormous cyst on my ovary and it was twisted. So then things started moving pretty fast after that ultrasound. I got back to the room. The doctor came in about 5 minutes later and said that they had called the surgeon and I needed to have emergency surgery to get my ovary removed because it was close to being ruptured. So I'm having emergency surgery on my ovary because there's a softball-sized cyst on it and the tube is twisted. Like it was like pretty much the size of an eggplant on my ovary. It weighed about 2 to 3 pounds and it was twisted about 4 times on my ovary. Doctor said I was pretty lucky because if I had waited any longer, it could have ruptured and then I would have gone into septic shock and possibly become septic, and then obviously there's a high chance of death.
After numerous weeks of healing, soul searching, and slowly testing her body, Kelly Hayes is back on trail.
I feel like I'm a kid and it's my first day of school again.
Kelly headed north on the trail to meet up with her tramily and will return to finish the missed miles at the end of her journey to complete her through hike. Kelly is currently on episode 16 of her journey and is slowly getting her trail legs back.
Farther away! I have to hike up more to get this stupid GoPro. Hayes Productions. Very good stunt.
Oh! It ain't always easy, but it's honest work.
Check her out on YouTube at Kelly Hayes Hikes.
Kelly, you are truly an inspiration to the hiking community, and we wish you the very best.
Absolutely. Guys, while we still have you here, why don't you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you're notified every time This Week in Backpacking drops a new video. If you've got any news to share with us or any suggestion on future segments, please drop us a line at thisweekinbackpacking@gmail.com. It's going to wrap up the news for this week. Guys, thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on This Week in Backpacking.
Take care.
Take care.